The growing appetite and need for higher education in Nigeria, coupled with the difficulty for secondary school leavers to gain admission to same, have bred a good market for scammers to thrive. School admissions scammers pretend to be admission officers in universities, polytechnics and other higher institutions, or have connections with people who work in those institutions in order to defraud unsuspecting and desperate students or parents seeking admission for their wards. Today on The Eagle, we shall be discussing admission scam, the role of school management and admission agencies. Thank you for joining us on another episode of The Eagle. I am Aisha Muhammad. The acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC, Abdul Karim Chuko, has called for strong partnership and cooperation among law enforcement agencies across Africa. Chuko made the call while declaring open a pair exchange program organized by the EFCC for Ghana's Economic and Organized Crime Office EOCO at the Rockview Hotel, Abuja. He stated that such alliances will be instrumental in the combating economic and financial crimes in the region. Golden Onwura tells us more.
The acting chairman of the EFCC, Abdul Karim Chuko, addressed members of Ghana's Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, on study tour to the EFCC, stating that the tour holds immense importance as it offers the unique opportunity to engage in peer learning through the exchange of knowledge, experiences and best practices in the field of law enforcement and anti-corruption efforts. He said the two agencies can contribute to strengthening the fight against economic and financial crimes and the promotion of rule of law in their two respective countries. The EFCC boss also stated that the study tour will create valuable insights that could help refine approaches and enhance the capabilities of the respective agencies in their countries. Chuko said the coming together of Ghana and Nigeria, being neighbors within the West African region, to learn from each other's successes and challenges can help strengthen the foundation of the law enforcement systems and build a better future for the two societies. He said the peer exchange program signifies a shared commitment to a world free of economic and financial crimes.
What I believe is our engagement with the Ghana EOCO will actually further strengthen our working relationship, whereby we will now work together to see that criminals who run away from Nigeria or vice versa will not go scot-free. We always work together to ensure that justice is done.
In her remarks, the Executive Director, EOCO, Ma'am Tiwa Adodankwa, said that it is important for the nations and institutions to collaborate as this would help them surmount the challenges affecting the West African sub-region. Adodankwa said such collaborative arrangements provide a platform for learning and sharing relevant experiences and expertise, which are essential for combating crime from a law enforcement perspective. She called for more collaboration among the agencies to tackle the menace of cybercrime, which has become a huge threat in Africa.
And when you look at the laws of EFCC and EOCO, we have a lot of similarities, and they have been in existence for a long time. And when you look at the work they do, they are stronger, they are more structured. So we decided to come to Nigeria to learn from them. What is it that they have done that they've been successful that Ghana can also learn?
The technical advisor of EOCO, Giz Samson Kwakwa, highlighted the fact that crime has no borders, and since criminals are becoming more coordinated, institutions fighting against them also should come together to fight back. During the study tour, the delegates from Ghana and their EFCC counterparts studied the workings of each other through shared insights on investigative processes, operational strategies, and enforcement mechanisms, among others. In another development, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) and Ghana's Economic and Organized Crime Office (EOCO) has signed a memorandum of understanding of collaboration in tackling trans-border economic and financial crimes, especially cyber crimes. Speaking at the event, which took place at the EFCC headquarters in Jabi, Abuja, the acting chairman of the commission, Abdulkarim Chuko, described the signing of the MOU as a climax of a series of engagements between the two agencies in the last few days. Chuko also expressed the belief that the MOU will signal a warning to fraudsters in both jurisdictions that it will no longer be business as usual. On her part, the leader of the delegation and executive director, Iyoko, Ma'am Yatiwa Adodankwa, said she was overwhelmed by the warm reception, programs and presentations from the officers of the EFCC. She assured the commission that its efforts will not be in vain. Officials of Iyoko were in Nigeria on a 5-day study visit to the EFCC.
Nigeria's ambassador to Russia, Ambassador Abdullahi Shehu, has commended the remarkable transformation of the EFCC Academy at Cairo, Abuja. The envoy, a former director of the Academy when it was still referred to the EFCC Training and Research Institute, TRI, is at the Academy to facilitate training on international standard for investigating money laundering and terrorist financing. Again, Golden Onwura tells us more.
Ambassador Abdullahi Shehu expressed gratitude to the Commission for inviting him to impart knowledge to the officers of the Commission. Speaking further on his training engagement, Shehu said the 5-day program is aimed at improving staff work ethics and operations. He said he was glad that the Commission's goal to digitize its system, which commenced while he was a staff at the Academy, had now been realized. The envoy was received by the Commandant of the Academy, C.E. Ayo Olowoni. He commended the Commandant for the excellent delivery of the human and progressive career development needs of EFCC staff.
This is very, very important. Movement and ownership are key elements of money laundering. They are key elements of economic and financial crime in general. How it has been moved from one location to the other, particularly if you are investigating financial crime. If it is a crime involving movement of money, where has it moved over time? How was it moved? When we get to issue of evidence, you may have dealt with the contentious issue of electronic evidence. And in modern day times now, there is no how you cannot establish evidence using how money moved through electronic means. So that is a major challenge for investigators to help prosecutors. I'm emphasizing investigators here because the ultimate success of whatever we are doing rests on how proper a case is investigated.
On his part, the Commandant thanked the ambassador for the homecoming and the opportunity to share the abundance of his international experience.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC has called for fully integrated and multiple approaches in combating the scourge of economic and financial crimes and other acts of corruption. This call was made in Abuja by the acting chairman of the EFCC, Abdulkarim Chuko, while addressing a delegation of Nigerian Economic Students Association, NESA, University of Nigeria Nsukka chapter, who visited the headquarters of the EFCC on an educational tour. Again, Golden Onwura tells us more.
Chuko said that preventive, enforcement and advocacy approaches are fundamental in tackling the problems of economic and financial crimes, including corruption in Nigeria, and this is what the EFCC is doing. The EFCC boss, who spoke through Assistant Commander of the EFCC, Dele Oyewole, on the prospects of 21st century economists, stressed that multidimensional strategies in tackling corruption require the buy-in of every stakeholder. He urged the students to join hands with the Commission in fighting corrupt practices.
The 21st century economics has very, very deep and immense prospects. But these prospects, they are derived from the cumulative benefits that are garnered from the old century economics. You know, from the days of Adam Smith to John Keynes, you know, all of these economists, their focus has always been how to grow the gross national product or gross domestic product. Their focus has always been the GDP. Grow the GDP, then you will be able to bridge inequality, grow the GDP, poverty will be addressed, grow the GDP, you'll be able to, all of the distortions and the leakages in the economy, as far as they are concerned, when you grow the GDP, you attain equilibrium. When you attain equilibrium, then there will be a state where individuals will fare better at any level.
Earlier, the head of Enlightenment and Orientation Unit of the EFCC, Aisha Mohammed, urged the students to avoid any form of crime, especially internet fraud, which is rampant among youths. She stated that the future of Nigeria belongs to the youths, hence the need for them to step up and support the EFCC in becoming anti-corruption vanguards to advocate for anti-corruption in places that the EFCC cannot reach.
EFCC cannot be everywhere. EFCC cannot do it alone, and you are our stakeholders, and that's why we'll always welcome whoever is ready to come and join in this fight. Because technically, being here and listening to this lecture, we believe that whatever you take away, you will put it to use, and you will be our ambassadors, and you will be people who will be proud of that. Yes, they came to the EFCC and now they are representing, and we hope and pray someday that you will be here in our position to be doing this job.
Also speaking on the topic, youths and social media problems and prospects, Head of Public Interface Unit of the Commission, Tony Orilade, urged the students to use their mobile phones wisely and refrain from committing internet fraud. He also called on them to avoid sharing unverified news stories and avoid causing crisis in the country.
The internet can be used to mislead and misinform the entire world. Just drop a message and somebody will say, this is what is. Some people will not even try to verify, just repost, and it's just trending, and it's all lies. Especially when there is an issue, there's a problem, there's a crisis. You just see people posting all sorts of things to, like we say, adding petrol to fire. Is it wise? It's not wise. That is misuse of the social media.
Another speaker from the Operations Department, CSE Alvan Guruman, exposed the students to their role as youths in the economic and financial crimes fight. Golden Onra, reporting for the Eagle.
Coming up next is Conviction Update with Abbas Abubakar Umar. Over to you, Abbas.
A famous writer and documentary film producer with many successful titles to his name, George Edward Griffin, said, and I quote, "To oppose corruption in government is the highest obligation of patriotism. But it is not just about opposing or saying no to corruption in government alone that indicate patriotism. It is about saying no to corruption and other forms of economic and financial crimes in all its ramifications." The total number of convictions recorded by the EFCC for week 23, which is between 5th to 9th June 2023, stood at 80. A breakdown showed Benin Command securing 30 convictions, Kaduna got 16, while Lagos got 9. Port Harcourt and Sokoto got 5 each, Uyo 4, Enugu 3, while Abuja, Ibadan and Maiduguri each got 2. Lastly, headquarters of the Commission and Gombe got 1 conviction each, bringing the total convictions for the week under review to 80. We must all come together to fight this menace in all our endeavors, be it at the grassroots, public or private level. Say no to corruption. Say something when you see something. And remember, the EFCC will get you anywhere, anytime.
According to a professor of psychology at Stanford and Santa Clara University, Dr. Thomas Planté, scammers have few motivations. The first is narcissism. Basically, their thinking is that they are important and rules just don't apply to them. That's why the scammers do and take what they please and find a way to justify it given their superiority, importance, or desire. Let's go to our interview segment to understand why people get involved in admission scam and to know the role of school management and admission agencies in perpetrating such acts. Ojochoktami Eche is standing by with our guest to take us through this interview. Over to you, Ojochoktami.
Admission scam, one hydra-headed type of corruption that has bedeviled the Nigerian society for so long. Now, what exactly do we know about this scam? What can we do about it? What is the EFCC doing about it? How is it perpetrated? These are some of the questions we'll be answering on this edition of the program. And I would like to introduce our guest on the program today. I'm talking about Assistant Commander of the EFCC, ACE2, Kufriabasi Osage. She's the head Land and Property Fraud Section, Lagos Zonal Command of the EFCC. Thank you so much for coming, AC Osage, on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, now, I'd like us to begin from, defining what admission scam is. What would you, in your opinion, define admission scam to be?
Admission scam, I think it would be good to just break down the two words that make up the compound word admission scam. Admission, since we're talking about education, would be accepting someone, a student, a pupil, into an academic environment, be it primary, secondary, tertiary. And then scam, we know, is a deceptive or fraudulent way of getting undue advantage over some other person. So admission scam will just be a conspiracy to get admission for someone into an elite school of choice through fraudulent means by rich or not so rich parents. I said rich or not so rich parents because in the time past it used to be just the rich parents trying to get, the very best for their children, getting their children to the best of schools and all of that. But now even the not very rich are willing to sell their valuables to have their children in the schools of choice.
Okay, now we know what admission scam means, but I'd like you to give us practical examples. What exactly is happening? You are an officer of the EFCC, so people have come to you with petitions, with examples. So how exactly is admission scam perpetrated? What different ways do you see it perpetrated in the Nigerian society?
In Nigeria, we'll have, first of all, we'll have an outright purchase of admission. Sometimes you don't qualify. There are procedures for admission for each school, depending on the school you want to get into. These processes are not met. These conditions are not met. Monies are exchanged and admission comes out, whether the person qualifies or not. So merit is slaughtered for pecuniary gain, which may involve the school management sometimes, which might not be just the school management. Sometimes school management may not be aware of it, might just be an individual in the system or somebody in the admissions office running that course. That's we also have, we can't rule out that one, the harassment, the sexual harassment. I can get you admission, because some students go as far as physically going to the schools and seeking out people who are in these admission offices who can help out. And these admission officers sometimes see it as an opportunity to extort these females sexually and all of that. We also have a situation where payment is made to doctor results to suit what the requirement for the admission is. The person didn't have what it took, but the process is doctored to ensure that what the person now has will give or grant the admission being sought. So those are some of the ways that admission scam is perpetrated.
So talking about admission scam in Nigeria, what is the chain? Who are involved in this chain, as a crime?
The parents are part of the process. Guardians are part of the process. The students themselves are part of the process. We also have the admission officers, the school management. They're all part of the process. That's why when I defined admission scam, I said it's a conspiracy to get admission. Conspiracy has to do with 2 or more people. So there's really no number, precise number, that does the scam. But, you know, it depending on the school, depending on the institution, and the process involved, the number varies from, you know, school to school, admission to admission.
Okay. How does admission scam affect Nigeria and Nigerians now and in the long run?
Okay, so let's take an example. If XYZ University, for example, and the requirement is that I have 5 A's, and I didn't have 5 A's, I was able to buy my way through. I get in there. For starters, I didn't have the requirement. So there's no merit. I get in there because I don't have what it takes. I carry what I have in there because you can't give what you don't have. I take what I have in there and push through the process because I never had it in the first place. I run the course and I come out half-baked. I get a job. Let's assume I went in for medicine, a medical doctor. I've graduated as a medical doctor. I am now Dr. Kufrabasi. But I can't as little as administer proper medication for malaria. I need to Google to be able to do that. The ripple effect of that on the country is enormous because we start having wrong medication administered. That is just for someone that studied medicine. So how about the one that studied law? How about the one that is an architect? How about the one that is an engineer? You are sending out half-baked personalities into the society. At the end of the day, things that are meant to be done are done wrongly because they didn't have the proper foundation. They didn't have what it takes to deliver on the job they now carry a portfolio of. So that eats into the fabric of the society and it keeps bringing us down and down. We hear of collapsed buildings everywhere. This is part of what causes it. Apart from the cutting of corners, when you don't have what it takes, you don't know what it takes. Everything you believe can be bought with money, can be obtained one way or another.
I want to take us back a bit to prosecution. If someone is found guilty of admission scam, what are the penalties that could be meted out in a court of law?
Different offenses can be coined out of admission scam. Money laundering can also be coined out of admission. You can do money laundering in the course of admission scam.
Thank you so much. You have spoken wonderfully well. I believe that our viewers have better understanding of what admission scam is all about. But and so before I let you go, I'd like you to give us, your final words on this topic.
I would say for parents, please believe in your children. Have some faith in them that they can do it on their own. Money doesn't answer all questions. Let them try themselves. There's nothing wrong with falling. It is staying down that is bad. When you fall, you rise. Let that child make mistakes. For the child, challenge yourself. You can do it. People ahead of you have done it. Who says you can't? To try it and see how far it will go. Government, please come to the aid of the educational sector. It's crippling our economy. We're bringing out people into the society that are not ready for what the society has to offer because they are not being, mentally drilled in the process they should be because funds, money is running the process. Schools, please uphold merit. Do not slaughter merit for pecuniary gains. And I'm sure Nigeria will be better off for it.
Thank you so much. My name is Ojo Chukutami Eche. It's back to Aisha in the studio for more on the program.
Before we end the program, Here is an important announcement. The attention of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC has been drawn to the activities of content creators, movies and skit producers who use EFCC branded jackets, symbols, insignia and other accoutrements without authorization. The Commission wishes to notify the public that the use of the EFCC brand in movies without authorization is illegal. While the Commission appreciates the desire by some operators in the creative sector to produce movies, skits with plot around economic and financial crimes, it is incumbent on such operators to seek the Commission's authorization, including vetting of scenes which purport to depict the operations of the Commission, to ensure that false or misleading messages are not passed to the public. The Public Affairs Department of the Commission is adequately equipped to work with motion picture practitioners desirous of partnering with the Commission in using films and skits to educate the public, especially the youth, on the dangers of economic and financial crimes. Anyone found acting contrary to this advisory shall henceforth be treated as an impersonator and dealt with accordingly. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. With that, we have come to the end of today's episode of The Eagle. We'll come your way again next week with another interesting edition. Let's keep the conversation going by sending an email to info@efcc.gov.ng or call us on 0809 3322644. Use the EFCC mobile app, The Eagle Eye, to report any fraud you see happening around you. You download the app, you follow the steps and report fraud on the go. And you can also take pictures of corrupt practices and upload them. Also, remember to join us every Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. on our web-based town hall meeting called EFCC Connect, where we answer your questions and note your observations of the anti-corruption fight in order to serve you better. I am Aisha Muhammad, leaving you with these parting words from Joe Biden, the American president. In his words, fighting corruption is not just good governance, it's self-defense, it's patriotism. So let's all be patriotic citizens. Let's join the anti-corruption crusade. When you see something, you say something, and rest assured, the EFCC will do something about it. Stand for integrity and do the right thing always. Goodbye. God bless Nigeria. Do stay safe, be kind to yourself and to others around you, and do enjoy the rest of the week.